Let's go.
Hello, welcome everybody. It is the final round of the VRRC World Endurance League for 2026. Richard John Neal here with you. Alongside me is, metaphorically anyway, virtually, Becky Aparicio, and Clarking is Danaher, broadcast director, and in charge of everything is Steve Allen. And this is, as you probably know, those of you in VRRC, this is our last VRRC club broadcast. So, bit of an end of an era. It's been running, Rich has been doing these for 6 years or so, back to COVID. So he's going to take a break from those. We will still, I think, have broadcasts on official championships, i.e. where there is a race championship allied to it, such as we did with the Scottish Legends, Minis, Formula Ford, so on and so forth. That we still have broadcasts on those, and we'll keep you posted as to when those are. Hopefully I'll be able to join you on some of those as well. But final one from us. It is a shame. It's going to give me Tuesday nights to go either down the pub or to football, which is quite handy. But we look forward to catching up with you again in due course. And I will, of course, keep up on the club results as well. Hopefully my son will get a bit more involved in stuff as well. Here's where we were last week. So round 7, Gabe Norse, driver of the round, 3 out of 3. And he has one hand on the virtual championship trophy as we come into week 8 of this campaign. Kieran Haynes, runner-up last week. Ollie Atkins was next as well. A really good effort from the Swift Cooper lads to get a 2 and 3. So we'll see what they can do this evening. I've done some sums on the championship points and permutations for this evening. It is easier because there's only one race this evening, even though it is a triple score. Now, just looking at the practice screen at the moment, I don't think Jack Smith's with us again. He DNS'd last week, and Gabe Norse extended the championship lead. Jack second, Kieran Haynes third from Andy Carroll, Ollie Gibson in 5th. Oliver is in the server right now, so he'll be taking part. Ollie Atkins 6th from Andy Dorman, Chris Blakey 8th from Mason Turner, and Lee Piercy wrapping up our top 10. Christian Gillian 11th from Sam Gumbley. Then it is Rich Hayden 13th, Jacob Lander and Scott Bugner. We haven't seen Scott for a while. I reckon if we've got Jacob Lander, he could start on pole position, top 15 championship points reversed for our hour-long compulsory pit stop race. So Scott Bugler 15th, then it's Jack Dixon, Josh Brennan, Jack Angel, Zach Hancock is back with us this evening, which is good news. He is 19th from Paul Laramie. And then we go down to our last page, Sam Walton, Rob Shepherd and John Jones. Kenny Press retired, which is a shame. I will stick my beak in to see Kenny and the lads at Donington Park at the end of the season, or towards the end of the season. Actually, I think we've got an early Donington touring cars this year. I think it's in end of August rather than September. So I'll be going to find out how Kenny is and trying to catch up. But I think everybody is going to enjoy a break, Kenny included, for all the hard work that he's done on the graphics. So thanks to Kenny for that. Championship-wise, Swift Cooper Black closing up big time. And as you can see there, it is around about 150 points. I don't think they're going to be able to sneak it tonight, but DK Power with Ollie getting some points should be able to stay in the lead despite the two lads coming up in second place. Team Carbike third from Shake and Bake. Shake and Bake, of course, our championship leader Gabe Norse. Then VRRC SRT in 5th from Swift Cooper Blue. Automac Independent, Eagle Garage and Swift Cooper Orange are in 10th position. So that is our team standings, and hopefully we'll get to talk to reps from those on our final race podium a little bit later on. So it is the Circuit de 24 Heures du Mans. That's as near as I'm going to get to a French accent ever. It is 8.4 miles. It's a long lap, but a fun lap. I think the first time I've commentated on any VRRC events at Le Mans. I've never done Le Mans for real. I've got no intention of going to Le Mans ever in my life as well. So to sports car racing, I love keeping an eye on it from a distance, but never really been the thing that floats my boat. British GT was back in the day. That's about it. So I do have an interest in it, but broadcast-wise, so many much better people that can do real-life commentary. But nice to have a round on the course. And last week we did have a presence, didn't we, from Jack Smith, and we've got his virtual presence again. This time for the hot lap in the McLaren as opposed to the Aston, and obviously the ones that we had before, the 6 rounds before he did the hot laps in the BMW, which has proved so successful in this campaign. But let's join Jack for a lap of Le Mans in the McLaren. So there we go. Thanks to Jack for all his hard work putting those laps together over the course of our broadcasts. And Becky, a great little track, isn't it? Well, a great big track, not a little track.
Yeah, it's quite a long track, but it will require our drivers to obviously not lose any focus at all. Obviously, with it being a long track and then also going around it for 60 minutes, it could throw a few kind of spanners in the works. If they lose that little bit of focus every so often. So yeah, full commitment the whole time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on, and then the added pit stop as well to contend with.
Yeah, which is mandatory. You might, and I noticed the way that Jack Smith has shied away from this one. Does he not like pit stops? Because remember, he didn't do a pit stop, did he, at the first one? Worked out that the tyres would cope. Poor old Gabe Norse ended up having a stop, which I think he kind of thought was mandatory, that he'd need one, but still got points and did well. But Jack, I don't know whether Jack, he's probably still on holiday, isn't he, Jack Smith, thinking about it, because he was out in the east, wasn't he, last week? So possibly still away on holiday. So hope he's having a great time, if that is the case. As we got around about 30 seconds before we go. By my maths, Becky, 4 drivers in with a shout of winning this, because if we look back to Andy Carroll, he's 120 points down, and there's 135 on offer. So, you know, could go in any which way at the moment. So I think it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, can't call it until we get kind of final provisional results all kind of confirmed at the end of this. But I'll be watching Andy Carroll closely.
Let's see whether he can get up onto the podium or indeed into a race win as we go racing for the last time in the World Endurance League for 2026. Sam Gumberley heading them away from Rich Hayden, who is back off his holiday, and there is a massive skirmish at the back, which is not what we wanted to see in the early stages. It is a long race and they've got the opportunity to recover, but a lot of drivers a long way behind. That's why we those drivers would probably be thinking, yep, we could probably do with a safety car. I think Kieran Haynes was one of those involved in that, which is a big shame. Kieran third in the standings, in with a shout of climbing up the order points-wise, 115 points adrift of Gabe Norse. And Gabe already up into 7th place. We ride on board with him. And there is Andy Carroll. It'll be lovely to see a good race between Andy and Gabe in this one. Of course, we have got stops to consider as well. I'm guessing it's probably going to happen about half distance, but it's Gumberley from Hayden and Blakey. Ollie Atkins next up, and here comes the move from Gabe Norse, slotting down the inside. You can see the difference, can't you, in height on those two cars as they hack their way along the straight. And Chris Blakey has a little bit of a moment, disappears off. Hopefully will rejoin. Will Chris Blakey, but some drama in the early doors, which I didn't expect with only 14 cars, Becky, really.
Yeah, compared to last week, it was all quite tame, but I don't know if that was with the shorter races. People, I don't know, you'd always think with the longer races, people would kind of sit back a little bit, not go for any drastic moves straight off the bat, just because you've got so much time to make up for it. So luckily for the drivers that have been caught out at the beginning, you have got time to make it up as long as the car's not too damaged, and hopefully make maybe a different strategy call with your pit stops. Be interested to see when we get kind of our leaders coming through, when we get to that point, like halfway point, like you said, to see if we're going to get people following each other into the pits. I'm not entirely sure if there's much that can go wrong in a pit stop, with it being obviously simulated. We don't have the human error of somebody changing a tyre too slow, or as we saw in the Formula 1, getting caught by the car as it goes and sets off. So luckily we'll have none of that this evening, but it looks like Chris has managed to compose himself again, get back on track and be battling up. He's managed to stay in P4, but he's got Gabe Norse right behind him, who will be making up positions. And like I've said with Kieran, again, shame that he's been caught out at the beginning. He's always shown really good pace in his BMW in this championship, so he'll just keep making his way up the order. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's there or thereabouts as Ollie Atkins, his teammate, just takes the lead as well, away from Rich Hayden.
Oh, he does, yeah, good spot there. So Ollie A in lead position, Rich down to second. Gabe Norse manages to deal with Chris Blakey, so Gabe already from the back of the reverse part of the grid up into 4th place, and we'll be hoping to get into the lead before the pit stops and build on it. Andy Carroll seemed to miss out, didn't he, in that little dice we gave North, dropped back a little bit. So Ollie Gibson now about to have a go. So Gibson going up past Rich Hayden for P2, and they are side by side at the moment. Hayden in the Aston Martin, nothing he can do about Oliver Gibson going through. Gibson will be mindful of the fact that Gabe Norse is not that far behind. Gibson 5th in the championship on 509 points. Just trying to work out. Actually, yeah, Ollie Gibson's still in with a shout for the championship as well. So it's 5 drivers. My bad. It's actually 5 drivers in with a shout of the championship. Should Gabe Norse not finish at 120 points down at the moment is Ollie Gibson. So he'll be gunning for 2nd position in the championship. He may well pass his brother in this one, and he'll be looking to keep ahead of Kieran Haynes and claw some points back on him as well. But it's Ollie Atkins out front. Things fairly close at the moment, about to get closer because Gabe Norse making the move here to get onto the podium already, and side by side with Mr. VRRC himself, Rich Hayden, and Gabe has got the line down to the inside. Rich, as ever, giving him room, and yeah, clean piece of racing between the pair of them and Gabe up onto a potential podium.
Yeah, all nice, clean racing at the moment. Obviously, minus our little skirmish at the beginning. So everybody's settling into it again. We've got a long distance to cover, so no point going too mad. But obviously, Ollie Gibson looks eager to be getting into the lead and making as much space, because obviously he's defending his team championship as well as hopefully going for the championship overall as well. But obviously without Jack Smith here, who Elaine has just confirmed he is still on his holiday. So obviously that's taken a priority. It's like, no, you should get the sim on the plane. Just load that in. Just add it as your, I'm sure it's less than 10k. We'll just kind of try to sneak it on. But as Ollie's now battling to take the lead away from Ollie Atkins, but wasn't as clear cut that time around as he was probably hoping. Ollie Atkins is defending well and keeping Ollie Gibson behind for now, which Gibson will have to be mindful of because Gabe is there at his heels as well.
Yeah, having a good battle as our Zach Hancock's chasing Christian Gillian back to the scrap though for the race lead, and it's Ollie Gibson who manages to get into the lead ahead of Ollie Atkins before Gabe Norse gets involved in the battle. But here comes Atkins back to try and get the position back. Has a little look, not quite anything doing there. So it's BMW's 1, 2, 3. Aston Martin in 4th position, then Chris Blakey in 5th place in his Aston Martin, and then the first McLaren as ever, Andy Carroll in 6th place at the moment as the lead trio crack on. Meanwhile, Chris Blakey getting stuck in here. So battle of the Astons between Chris Blakey and Rich Hayden. They're going to enjoy their race, I think. It's a little bit of a rub between the two. That registered at 2.16 miles per hour. Chris Blakey comes through at the front of this one. Andy Carroll hoping to join in as well. They can, with the long straights here, see who is doing what well up ahead of them. We're barely 6, 7, 8 minutes into this one as Ollie Atkins not giving up and having a go back here to try and get back into the lead. Nobody's taken any early pit stops yet, so I reckon we'll probably end up going to half distance in this one. But a good move by Atkins to get back into the lead. So we've got a bit of a scrap on here.
Yeah, with how long these straights are, it's given drivers the opportunity to obviously get in the slipstream, get a good momentum up behind the driver that they're battling, and manage to pass them. So we might see a fair bit of this, and it looks like we're going to get 3 going for it. Probably, yeah, trying to get the best slipstream out of it. Obviously, if you're leading the way, you're a little bit stuck. You've got to do it off your own momentum. So just ensure that your exits are as best as they can be, as clean as they can be, and get on that power as quick as you can.
Absolutely right. It's one of those circuits that really does reward those that are brave enough to get stuck into the slipstream, and these two probably not doing themselves any favours by getting involved. I think I don't know what else they could do to try and stop Gabe Norse coming up with them. Gabe's always quick with or without tow, and he'll know that he's got a full hour to get in front, and he's probably done the maths as well. And we'll know that top 4, so he's doing enough at the moment to secure the championship. And as we pick up on Kieran Haynes down in P7. So Kieran caught up in that early schmozzle and looking to try and get back. And interesting that he's caught Andy Carroll here. Andy was, I think, out of luck at one point as well. Those two potentially could work together, but certainly potentially could be podium finishers as well, depending on how long they are fueling for or how long their stop is. So we'll see that a little bit later on. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, Josh Brennan and Rob Shepherd have a little bit of a coming together. Quite a big one, actually. 11 and 17 miles per hour is the contact, as Atkins, having reclaimed the lead here from Oliver Gibson, now sees Ollie down in third place. Gabe Norse up into P2 under the Cadillac signage, and Gabe Norse will be relentless in his chase of Ollie Atkins. So Ollie, we know, is a man who can fight back, and that was a really good fight back that we saw on Ollie Gibson. And you know, Gabe won't want to fight, but we'd quite like to see one here. Here comes the move though, dives down the inside, out of the slipstream. Let's see whether he's going to get the position done. And well, he's showing on the timing tower as having got the position. Here comes Ollie Atkins looking to try and fight back. Takes a wide run here and not quite able to do it. The Swift Cooper driver will now see whether he can follow the champion-elect. We'll also see whether he'll drag Oliver Gibson up into the mix as well.
Yeah, Ollie Atkins is another driver along with Kieran Haynes, his teammate. They've always looked quite keen in these races, especially the later ones. We've had the more recent ones of actually having that pace of that momentum as he takes the lead again. So he's definitely not letting this go easily. He's not defending overly aggressively, which is nice, because again, we don't want any contacts. We don't want, you know, the race to be over because of something like that. So, and it seems like Gabe again is thinking, again, I've got plenty of time to get moves done. So like I said, we're probably going to get a lot of kind of back and forth, especially between these three, as Ollie Gibson has dropped off the back a little bit. But again, we've still got the pit stops to think about, and what sort of dynamics that will change, and how drivers will go about that to see if they can get kind of one over their rivals. But Gabe's defending nicely there, kind of just sitting himself nicely on the track. So yeah, there's no way for Ollie Atkins to get past him. As we flash back to Rich Hayden, who's battling away. Kieran Haynes has got past both Andy Carroll and Rich Hayden, so he's now showing in fifth. So you never know, it might not be long before Kieran Haynes is causing a bit of a problem in this and coming along to help his teammate Ollie Atkins, who is back behind Gabe. But he is literally bumper to bumper, so any minute he'll probably pop out and see if he can get the position back. But no, actually, I'll eat my own words. He's dropped back off. Thought, no, actually, I'm not going to go for it just yet. Just bide the time a little bit. Then again, we've got the thing of they can probably actually push quite hard with the tyres for quite a lengthy period. Obviously, we were doing half-an-hour races anyway, so they'll know sort of the limit of those tyres anyway. Obviously, the track's different, but they'll have a sort of an idea, so they can probably push maybe harder than they have done in previous races, knowing they're going to come in for a new tyre set anyway.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's still very early doors, isn't it? We've only had 10 minutes of it so far, 12 minutes so far, as we go back to Andy Carroll behind Kieran Haynes. Haynes trying to chase Rich Hayden. And you wouldn't bet against any of the top 7 drivers being on the podium, really, at the end of this one. Sam Gumby and Christian Gilliam very, very much would love to see them up on podium place, and hopefully will in future series. But Norse, yeah, got a second now, effectively, over Ollie Atkins. Just managed to maybe get a little bit of a clear run, concentrate on his lines, do a sort of quali run, which is what you're going to try and do, break the toe and get away. And Oliver Gibson will try and get back into that podium battle as we watch Andy Carroll trying to close down again on Kieran Haynes. Now remember that we've seen Andy Carroll really come on strong later on in the races, so the McLaren might be a surprise for the second half of the race, or at least the later part of the second half of the race, which makes me think that I reckon Andy Carroll might be one of our first stoppers, based on the fact that the car does get better when it's lighter. Here's the battle for second, which is beginning to ignite by the look of it, with Atkins now with his mirrors full of Ollie Gibson, and he's got some Hopposaurus teeth chomping away, ready to have a little bit of a go here. Oh!
He's just hit that curb and the car spun out. That was so unfortunate. So it's gonna try to recover, spin back round, obviously again, make sure he joins back safely onto the track to avoid any penalties for that. But that's a lot of places obviously lost there, and unfortunate there. Obviously no contact or anything, just probably a bit too much throttle on the curb, and yeah, back end's just gone round on him.
That's a shame. I really wanted to see that battle continue, and the possibility of them maybe being able to take something to Gabe Norse up at the sharp end anyway. But that's a great shame for Ollie. He's down in 7th place now, so Andy Carroll goes up to 6th. See whether Ollie will crack on and try and do some sort of recovery. He's got, I think, one of the new championship starts on the 5th. On the 4th of August. So it was going to be the Porsche one, but it's another touring car series. So if you want to get involved, I think without the broadcast, it might be good for new people to come in and maybe have be a little bit less visible. I know a couple of people said to me, "Oh, I don't quite fancy the live broadcast," and so it's a double-edged sword, really. I know some of the people do like it, having commentary and being able to follow the racing and so on and so forth. But I think for new people, it's a good opportunity to sort of come in under the radar and get a little bit of track time with VRRC, off camera, so to speak. So probably a good opportunity. It is another touring car championship, so have a look at the website and see if you fancy joining us for that.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say later on, it definitely, as sad as it is, that obviously we won't be about being able to guide you through the evening's race action. It is a nice way for somebody who might have been a little bit too again timid to come in and do it. Now you've got that kind of less pressure of the broadcast and obviously interviews and stuff like that. Give it a go. I've already said to Rich, actually, I might have to sneak into one or two of the races. He does now know my gaming pseudonym, so as long as he doesn't tell anybody. But I think again, all the drivers will probably be aware now, so they'll probably work it out.
It's not Abby Pulling, is it, or anything like that? Or...
Oh, that's a good shout. Actually, I might just go for I might just steal a driver's name. And then they'll be like, "Oh, good, I'm racing against this," but then they'll be like, "Oh, they've dropped off their game, haven't they?"
Abby's rubbish anyway, so you probably do better.
Funnily enough, I've actually got her race sort of like underwear with fire resistant stuff. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay. No, I'm only joking, Abby. Abby's one that you can actually have a little bit of a laugh with, which is, I haven't seen her for ages. Probably shouldn't joke about people I haven't seen for a while. So, Abby, if you do get to pick up on that, apologies. And thanks for being a great sport, as always, and keep up the good work on track. He says digging himself out of a pit as Kieran Haynes looks back at Andy Carroll. They're still fairly close here. Rich Hayden in 4th place. Chris Blakey, a dark horse for a podium, really, in this one, you've got to say. And that would be very well earned if he can keep that machine. He hasn't had a podium in this one, has he, Chris Blakey? Just have a quick look. He is 2nd on my list. So, he did get a podium first race at Losail, so he might be able to bookend podiums, which would be a little bit of a story. Certainly very well capable of it.
It was when he was running the server as well. And then I think in the first race, he got the podium, and then I don't think it went too well the rest of the evening. So we decided maybe the running of the server was not helping him in his the bid for going for the win.
It was the same with Andy, wasn't it, last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily a good thing to do. But Kieran Haynes has made a good recovery here, and of course one of the things we have to think about is our driver of the round. He's the round driver of the race as well. But really good recovery from Kieran Haynes so far. Obviously, if Gabe wins the race and the championship, we could probably give him driver of the round again. But I think we might be a good idea, particularly it's the last opportunity to maybe look elsewhere. Taking nothing away from what Gabe is achieving at the moment, apart from his 4.2 second lead, Becky. How on earth did he get that? That is stunning, isn't it? 4.5 seconds now. Yeah,
incredible from Gabe. I'm just going to jump in quickly. Ollie was the first one to pull the plug. He's been in for his pit stop. So that's why he's showing at the bottom. I was just making sure, waiting to see if he did come out or if the damage was too much to his car, but he's made his stop, so he's back out on the track. So now all he has to do, he's done his pit stop. He can just focus on making up as many places, and especially when everybody else has to stop around him, hopefully he can pick up some places as people are deciding to pit.
Yeah, that's a good spot, and Ollie will know the car will get him to the end, because they did that on the first hour-long race, which was at Nurburgring. as Rich Hayden and Kieran Haynes continue to engage. Kieran in 4th, Rich Hayden in 5th. Going back to the point about being off camera, I think in some respects the VRRC has I was going to say become a victim of its own success. The more sort of official championships we get, it brings a lot more serious drivers into it, and that can put off some newcomers. And I'm not saying that we're not getting newcomers, because Rich does get some inquiries still, but sometimes just having that little reset and going back to some pure club racing will be a good thing, and then we can have the official championships, the official tie-ins as well. Maybe over the winter, I was talking to Steve, our director, about a lot of official championships maybe want to do stuff in the winter, so hopefully we'll get back to doing some broadcasts when there's no real racing on. I've got to say, for me, it's not a bad thing. I've got a really busy, my busiest months of the year, absolutely unreal, October and November. Racing generally finishes end of September, but we've got loads of driver development work to do and scholarships and things like that. So very pleased to be doing that work and thoroughly enjoy it. And as I say, it's ended up being my busiest month. So and a lot of those are midweek, so I'll be away for some of the October rounds, which means I might miss some of the Formula Ford stuff. But don't tell Alan Bowles, because he won't be very pleased.
No, like you say, it'll be good to run things maybe when it's a bit quieter on actual real tracks in the real world, and fill that void that people will be missing, kind of going out racing. But it's definitely something for people to look into, especially like just on a Tuesday night. I don't think many people do a lot on a Tuesday night, so get on the sim, come have a chat. And all the drivers are lovely anyway, and they're more than happy, especially like Jack Smith, more than happy to lend a hand and give some advice on setups and coaching and stuff like that. But obviously even more so with it not being a broadcast kind of championship, you might find it's a bit more relaxed than maybe it is for some of the drivers. I'm sure they all are very lovely and approachable. And at times I've pinged across messages and be like, can somebody help me with this? And they've all been very, very nice to me and actually helped me work out problems with my sim, which is great, instead of then trying to get on touch with Fanatec, because that's pointless half the time.
It's a good community. It's always lovely to meet people at the track, and I'm hopefully you're going to catch up with everybody now. The touring cars are starting after its summer break. I was going to say mid-season break, but we're not in mid-season yet till after the weekend. But yeah, I hope everyone's going to come down to their local touring car round and come and say hello, which would be good. And my Tuesday is going to be if there is a wobble there from Kieran Haynes. Is that the same point Ollie had his?
I think so, yeah. Looked very similar. It was definitely a sweeping left that caught Ollie out. So maybe a little bit of a slippery curve over there.
I think so. I should call a slippery one Farage corner, shouldn't they? That's French sounding, isn't it? And slippery as they come. Sorry, I won't get into politics. We'll park that there. Never mix politics and racing, they say. As Andy Carroll goes down the inside of Rich Hayden, and Rich back in front. This is for 5th and 6th position. Kieran Haynes getting away from them at the moment, trying to close in on his teammate Ollie Atkins. A really good performance actually from the Swift Cooper lads, and they're going to go side by side, and they're racing for team points as well, remember, so they're going to be looking at the moment probably in pretty good order to close up. So what are we talking, 4th and 5th place? So they are on 3rd and 4th place, which is 207 points, Becky, I think, between those, and I can't remember what the gap back was in the team championship, but they're going to pick up 200, and Oliver Gibson's down in 12th, so if we're not careful we might have a different team champion coming up.
Yeah, definitely don't rely on me for maths, Richard. That's definitely a bad idea, that. But yeah, it's good to see the teammates together, so see what they've got planned, if they've again had any discussions about, right, okay, if this happens, I don't know how in-depth drivers go, and especially with the teammates. I've said before about like Ollie and Jack when they're racing together, and they're very much they're a team that are like, it's vibes based. It's just how we feel kind of on the evening. There's nothing set in stone, so I don't know if it's the same with Kieran and Ollie Atkins. So we'll see obviously what they've got planned. Maybe they've got some sort of set play to kind of get them up the road, get battling, get caught up with Chris Blakey, and Gabe seems to be as that's Ollie Atkins gone off. Again, I don't know if it's a curb that is catching a few drivers out. That was definitely a different curb than what caught Kieran and Ollie Gibson out. But definitely seems to be as soon as you're going there. Again, it might be with the cars getting lighter as well, the less fuel in them. They're going to react differently to these corners. So where you've been able to full throttle quite early on because your car's kind of bogged down, it's nice and heavy. I say nice and heavy. Nobody wants a heavy car. But for the point of being able to get your foot down and go, it probably helps you kind of stabilize it a little bit better than when it's light and it's going to get a bit more kind of a little bit more leery out of the corners.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky for those drivers to keep that concentration all the way through this one. We're approaching half distance, still only had the one stopper. We're 6 minutes away. I've just done a quick catch up on the points. There's 150 points separating DK Power and the Swift Cooper lads, and at the moment I see 209 points with Ollie's dropped back to 5th, so I've got to recalibrate the maths, which I'll do in a minute. But at the moment, Ollie Gibson down in 12th place, which is 48 points. So he's nip and tuck championship-wise. Going to have to keep an eye on that one, and we'll probably have to do the sums again after the pit stops. But we definitely have with Oliver Gibson down in 12th. But bear in mind, as Becky said, he has done his pit stop. It does open things up, and it's going to make things very close on the team championship.
Yeah, with Ollie Atkins now currently taking his pit stop, which is why he's currently dropping down the order and messed up your calculations then as well. So he's the I think the second driver, unless somebody snuck in and we didn't see. I believe he is our second driver to pit. So it's both the Ollies have gone for it. So we'll see who's next to make the call again. I wonder how late people are going to go. I believe they have to have done it by 50 minutes into the race. So with 10 minutes left, everybody should have pitted, unless you want to incur a penalty, which obviously is not how you want to end this championship. So drivers, make sure, do your pit stop before 10 minutes.
Yeah, that kind of thing. This is one of the things that does do they do that at Le Mans for real? Are there a set number? I don't know. I don't follow the regulations that hard. Certainly in club endurance racing, with Fun Cup and things like that, you've got a set number of stops and each driver has to do so many stints and so on and so forth. But I'm not up on Le Mans regulations at all. For one reason, I just can't be asked to sit and watch 24 hours of screen, or even a good proportion of it, because they're generally not going wheel to wheel, which is one I've never been involved in commentary with. I'm much more in tune with the sprint races. But are there a set number they have to do, or is it just free for all at 24 hours of Le Mans?
Yeah, I believe so, especially when it's under WEC. Yeah, there tends to be a earliest point you can do it, and you can go into the pits. You can't do it within your first lap or so. I'm not entirely sure on the exact kind of numbers. I suppose it depends on if you're doing your 24 hours or your 12 hour, 6 hour ones. It all varies. And especially with your drivers, because you get your different rankings as well. So you get your kind of your bronze and your silvers and your pro-ams and all the different kind of, just to make it all nice and confusing, but they all have to do different stops. And then there's other championships where you have to think about, success penalties, and sometimes people have to stop for longer. And there's a lot to take in. And like you said, there's not always that wheel-to-wheel action. And it's more kind of towards, sometimes, beginning can be a bit sort of more exciting because you've got all the cars bunched together. And then maybe towards kind of like pit stops and the end and stuff. But a lot of times it's like a car's just kind of broken down and you're like, oh no, but they'll go get it fixed and then they'll come back out. And I'm like, I have no idea where they are in the grand scheme of anything. It was very much like that with the C1 race. And I remember just going out, and my first stint was in darkness around Silverstone. So knowing there was corners somewhere, but also not knowing anybody around me, I was like, I don't know if you're behind me or if you're a faster car, or it's just all very much a blur. So that's I suppose some of the joy with endurance racing. You can probably just sit back and kind of just get on with what you're doing, and you don't have to worry too much about major sort of full-on racing the full time, unless you go around Brands Hatch with 50 odd C1s, and then there's always action somewhere on that track with that. When you were talking about Formula One going back there, I was thinking, I remember going around there, like I said, with 50 odd Citroen C1s, and that was stressful enough.
Was that on the Indy, or was that the GP?
That was GP. No, it wasn't.
Oh,
Sorry,
right.
it was Indy. It was Indy.
Wow.
We
Wow.
didn't do the full thing, so yeah, it was very very quick, very fast paced, and I probably got lapped numerous times. I'll happily admit to that, because I was just pleased to keep it on the track a lot of the time.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, particularly with C1s, I was looking at some of the C1 results from the weekend because they had a double header at Donington Park at the week. Was it a double header or was it the next round? Anyway, they were racing at Donington Park at the weekend, and I wasn't watching the stream because again I just don't have time to do that. But I do dip into TSL. It's quite funny actually because I dip into TSL and send people messages about, oh, well done, like the lad that won the juniors and the Fiestas at the weekend. I pinged them and dads respectively, and well done. And they said, oh, what do you think of the race? And I said, I wasn't watching it. I was just looking at TSL. Yeah, I really haven't got time. I did watch the first lap crash on the Fiesta Juniors. I watched that back just to see who was to blame. And I won't tell you who was to blame because he'll get the ump with me. But yeah, I where was I going? Endurance racing. Yeah, Fun Cup is the best for me in endurance. I love the C1s as well, but there's not really much of an in for me there because like Rob Lewis and the team do theirs. But really enjoying working on the Fun Cup races. If you get a chance, Becky, to get a Fun Cup drive or just even maybe a test to start off with, really, really cracking racing and great events. Really love those.
Yeah, I managed to see them when we were both at Anglesey a fair few weeks ago now, probably about 6 weeks ago or so. Wasn't
yeah,
it?
I forgot about that.
They were there, so yeah, it was good to see them going around, and I'd gone all the way up, sort of Rocket Way, but on the outer bit of the circuit, being able to watch it go around there. But yeah, always as it says, it's Fun Cup, isn't it? So it's bound to be huge amounts of fun. But it seems like we've settled down a little bit. We've got two other drivers in the pits, so we've got Zach Hancox and Robert Shepherd pitting, and then we've got Ollie Gibson and Ollie Atkins that have already pitted. They're split at the moment with Josh Brennan in the middle of them. But yeah, Ollie Atkins has managed to do his pit stop, still come out ahead of Gibson. But I suppose that bodes well for Gibson. Surely that's making him feel a little bit more confident about how things might play out. I know again Ollie Atkins had a bit of a moment and dropped down, but he wasn't that far away from the kind of leading pack. I think when he pitted, he was about 5th or 6th when he actually came in, because Rich Hayden had obviously overtaken him on the road. So obviously that surely gives them a bit of confidence, thinking, right, okay, if we keep setting some good laps, consistent laps, fast laps, we might be able to make something work at the end of this race and be able to battle for those podium positions, as Andy Carroll's looking like he's going to be able to get Kieran Haynes round here. Yeah, nicely done, nice and through. See how much Kieran Haynes wants to battle back, though. I'm sure he's not going to let it go.
No, I'm wondering whether he'll dip into the pits. Depends what sort of time he's got in his mind to come in, as you say. But it's been one of the joys of this championship has been watching Andy Carroll working with that McLaren and seeing how well it runs in the later stages of the race. But I'm wondering whether he's going to take a late stop. I was thinking he might take an early stop to get the best out of the car in the second half of the race, but maybe he's going to leave it for a late stop to get the best performance in the later half of his first stint, as it were. So maybe that's what we're seeing here. But yeah, super job, and he's up into P3. Bear in mind he had some issues earlier on. There is Oliver Gibson back up into the top 10, and that's net now because he's after the pit stop, as you mentioned. So good run for him, and hunting down Ollie Atkins. So actually, he was away behind Ollie Atkins, wasn't he? So the pit stops haven't done him any harm at all. He's about to potentially make up a place here. So I think the stops have worked well for him.
Yeah, again, his tyres are going to be a little bit warmer than Ollie Atkins, so he's going to hopefully be in a better working position to be able to get that move done and hopefully keep him behind. But they've got to remember there's obviously everybody else on the track that they kind of want to be chasing up to. So it's whether they think actually let's not fight too much on this. We'll try to get as far up as we can, and then we'll start battling towards the end. And like you said with Andy Carroll, I'm intrigued to see what his strategy is going to be, because like you say, he's said before in his interviews, the car is better when there's less fuel in it, as Christian Gillian and Sam Gumbley are both in the pits. His car's a lot better with less fuel in. So if he goes for that last sort of minute sort of pit stop, if he can then, even with, he's not going to obviously fill the car He's just going to make sure he's got enough fuel in his car to obviously complete the final lap. So again, they'll be calculating that, knowing, and again, surely you would have thought they would have been doing it in practice as well, seeing how much fuel they need for however many types of laps at whatever pace. So they can calculate it as they're going along, thinking, okay, yeah, I can get away with the last minute stop, but then I've got to defend because obviously my car's going to be a little bit heavier. It's not performing as well. This is obviously Andy Carroll's McLaren. It's then working out, is it worth that risk to have the car that's not then at its peak performance, but you know you're going to get the momentum and the better performances. That was Ollie Atkins going wide again, so Ollie Gibson is through now. So again, net position for Ollie Gibson as that was kind of his closest rival in terms of after the pit stops. But they're slowly climbing, like we said, with having the pit stops. They've managed to obviously make up quite a few positions, and they've still got, I believe, everybody ahead of them still needs to stop. I'm not too sure if Christian actually did come in, and he's managed to actually come out ahead.
Yeah, just trying to work that out. I would have thought that I think we're probably still waiting for the sort of field to sort of shake down after Christian's stop at the moment, but I might be wrong. But it looks at the minute as if Ollie Gibson might be the top stopper. We'll see when they get to the end of the lap, which is the best way to do it. But I'm wondering whether that moment that we had earlier on just spurred Ollie into an early stop. He knows that the car is capable of getting to the end because, you know, I think they both did it at Nurburgring. But he's come out all guns blazing. It's been a really good recovery thus far from Oliver Gibson. And when we talk about that, we might be maybe talking about him as driver of the round or driver of the race by the end, as we see Andy Carroll going out of shot. There is Kieran Haynes in fourth place. So Andy Carroll has got himself up onto a potential podium. Fastest lap of the race. Let's have a quick look. Unsurprisingly, with Gabe Norse, who's looking to make it double champion, remember, because he's our reigning touring car champion as well. So I think the first one we've had of those for quite a while. Jack Smith, or other than Jack Smith, who's pretty much won loads of championships going back. Don't have a list of the champions with me. Or do I? Let's have a look through my wad of paperwork that we've got here. Oh, this is going to be redundant now, isn't it? Going back to the club racing. We've got so many bits of paper from the championships that we've had over the last... No, I never kept my champions list, which is a little bit of a pity. How far does this go back, you ask? Well, it goes back to the Camus Mini Cup, which was February 24. So I've got 2 years worth of paper. That was the point at which I started to try and sort of keep results and have a look at who was doing what. And the names there, believe it or not, the table, Andy Carroll was third in the championship. Joel Lask won it, which is probably a name that some of you will remember. Nicky Taylor, who went on to race in the Mini Championship, raced in Clio's as well. Brad Smith, I think, from the Smith family that are doing truck racing now. One of the Smiths is racing his dad's truck. So Josh Martin, mini racer, Craig Curtis, Tom Churchhouse, Nathan Smith, it might be, that's doing the racing. And then you've got the likes of Chris Blakey, Paul Laramie, Lee Piercy, Kenny Press was in the mix as well. John Higgins did one round of that as well. John Higgins Jr., John Higgins' dad, was the multiple, still got the record for the most Legends Cars Championship. And John only did one round with us, which was a shame because he did really well. And then we never saw him again. But I thought, oh, we had a new VRRC star in the making. So loads of drivers that have sort of come in and out. And I'm sure we'd welcome back at some stage as well, as Kieran Haynes now tries to close the gap on Andy Carroll. More pitters. So
we've only got 3 drivers left to pit, which is our top 3 at the moment, are the ones that have not pitted. But Gabe seemed to have a very quick stop. So I wonder if, again, he's just literally done a little bit of fuel, not gone mad with it. Obviously, got just over sort of 20 minutes to go.
Just on the obligatory.
What needs to be done?
Yeah, I think you're right. He's probably done the sums, and this is one of the reasons why I wouldn't sim race. I just wouldn't be able to spend the time preparing and testing, and bad enough learning to drive the flipping things without having to work out strategy and all that as well at the end of it. Having said that, though, there is help. So if you're listening to me wittering on about that, if you do want to get involved, the likes of Jack Smith do driver coaching. So, you know, talk to Jack, get some hints, tips off him. And you've already heard Becky saying about the support that she's enjoyed from the VRRC community as well, and getting her rig sorted out. So, yeah, very definitely ask for help if you need it. So, Gabe Norse is the top stopper thus far. Chris Blakey P2 in terms of those that have had their stops. How close is Andy Carroll going to be? I don't think he's going to be close to Gabe Norse, but I think he's going to be close to a podium once he has done his stop. The question, as we've been asking, Becky, is when will Andy Carroll stop? We are 21 minutes remaining, so he's got to do it in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, don't leave it too late and start giving me heart palpitations, thinking, oh no, they've forgotten to yeah, I think it's been drilled into them enough times that they know they need to stop, unless they have that much of an advantage and a lead, that they think, actually, I'll just take the penalty. But I think the penalty might be just being disqualified. So maybe that's not the strategy to do. Don't anybody get me on a strategy team, basically, is the kind of the point I'm making here. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see when he does stop. I do reckon with how late it is at the moment, I wonder if, that especially the top three are going to leave it until the very last minute, and hopefully retain as much of a position as they can, and then there's less drivers to have to fight back. And again, they'll have fresher tyres, hopefully again have the bare minimum of fuel that they'll need to get over the line, and be able to obviously keep contending and fighting for the win.
Yeah, Chris Blakey was he 10 seconds down? Last time I looked at Chris Blakey, 10 seconds down on Gabe, and he's 11, 12 seconds down on Gabe at the moment. So maybe had slightly longer stop. So again, we'll have to see once everybody's done how that all works out. But Andy Carroll's still there at the moment. Best lap for Andy, a 3:55. And Gabe Norse's best lap, 3:53. So on his best lap, Gabe Norse 2 seconds a lap quicker. He's just been in a class by himself this evening, working his way through in the early stages, getting up front. And as I said, there are lots of drivers here I'd love to pair up in the real world endurance sort of series. But, you know, wouldn't it be good? Fun Cup, there's a 10 grand bounty that you can get if you rock up and win in your first race. I think it's a very difficult, very nearly impossible thing to do, but you know, if you took the top three from this championship and stuck them all in a Fun Cup car, I think they'd have a serious chance of getting that bounty. And one of the drivers that I would put in is the man we're looking at here, Oliver Gibson. He would definitely be in with a shout. You definitely want Jack Smith in. You definitely want Gabe Norse in the team as well. Maybe Christian Gillian, get him over and race with us as well. Our overseas driver doing sterling work at the moment. Was in sixth, now just been passed for 7th position. But yeah, if these guys could put the money together, Fun Cup outing would be great. As I say, it's not that easy because there's so much. There is the strategy, there's the getting in and out and everything else. You need a good team to be able to do it as well as the good drivers in Fun Cup. And if you've not watched one, I'd wholeheartedly recommend you get down to track and watch one for real. We've got next one is Brands Hatch, 15th of August. If you're near Brands, come and see the Fun Cup. And then we've got Silverstone, which is 2 or 3 weeks after that, I think. I'm doing both of those rounds. I'm not doing the finale because I think it clashes with touring cars. That's all in part. With the Fiesta Junior finale as well. So if you are thinking of doing any of the loads of scholarships coming up this year, which will keep, as I said, keep me busy in the autumn. We've got the ADS Modular Mazda Super Cup scholarship, and that's more of a driver development program as well as a scholarship, but fully funded year available. And I think that's the one that Jack Smith said that he's entered for. So if you're a senior driver, if you're 16 and above, but younger than 30, you can do that one. There's also actually no, it's the Honda one that Jack's doing, isn't it? The Honda Racing Championship, or Honda, I can't remember the name of it. But the one that runs with Time Attack is another senior scholarship. And then you've got the two junior ones, the Fiesta one and the Ginetta one. The Ginetta one, probably more of a European sort of thing now. And then you've got the JSCC, the Junior Saloon one. Remember, we had Lewis Stannard, who raced in the Junior Saloons and was very, very quick with us, went into minis. And he was one of the, I think one of the JSCC scholars. And I'm guessing, actually, probably letting the cat out of the bag, if you're at Thruxton this week, you'll get your first look at the Power Maxed Toka Junior car, which I believe is going to be there. Laura Payne, who's the championship coordinator, got in touch over the weekend. And they're hoping to have the car on show there, so hopefully we'll maybe get it on ITV and give everyone a preview of what that car looks like. So that's exciting. But lots of scholarships. If you're into sim racing and you fancy the chance to go and learn a little bit more about the real world environment and maybe the chance to win, then get yourself in with the scholarships. Let's have a look back and see how we're doing. Kieran Haynes in P2, Andy Carroll still there. Those two, the only two that haven't pitted. Gabe Norse still the top stopper. He's in third place now and poised to take the lead once the top two come in for their stop, and they've only got 5 or 6 minutes to go before they will face the wrath of Ian Danaher and Rich Hayden on Thursday morning.
Yeah, so yeah, we're getting close now. Gabe's obviously, he's only 8 seconds back, which normally you'd be like, oh, that's quite a big gap. But obviously, when we've got pit stops to play out, we guarantee he's going to end up in front as Andy Carroll now takes his pit stop. So we'll see where he comes out. I'm not actually too sure how long it's been taking. Again, it depends what people are doing in the pits, how much fuel they're putting in, and how long that delays them. So we'll see where he comes out and then see if he can have like a last sort of, probably about 15-minute dash to the line to see if he can make up more positions, as I think Chris Blakey's going to just get out in front of him with Andy still showing us in the pits, and Kieran's now leading, but he's probably going to surely come into the pits short soonish, you'd imagine, with only sort of 5.5 minutes to go. But Andy's come out really well, so he's only just behind Chris Blakey, so he'll push and hopefully close that gap up, and then he's back on the podium, and then it's just waiting to see where Kieran Haynes will end up after his pit stop, to see if they end up in a last few lap sort of fight for second position.
Yeah, I think the podium's going to be keenly fought, isn't it? Here we'll see whether it is going to be Chris Blakey at the moment poised to take second position, and Andy Carroll, I think, dropping back on his outlap at the moment, as Chris Blakey's done a good job. Actually, looking at Christian Gillian rather than Chris Blakey. Still black and yellow, actually black and gold, isn't it, really, to be absolutely fair to Chris Blakey. But Christian Gillian 7th place and ahead of Ollie Atkins, and trying to hunt down Oliver Gibson, who we might see in the distance. There is Ollie G. He's had a good fight back, but he was down in 12th place. He took his stop, got that out of the way, which I think was a sensible thing to do. He's on his own at the moment, so clear track, and he's just got to really work out. He's not going to be any lower than 6, so it's a decent recovery from him. As we go back to Andy Carroll, quick-ish stop, 3 seconds, as you can see, down on Chris Blakey. So we'll keep our eyes on that gap and see whether he will close in, and also where Kieran Haynes, once he's done his stop, will come out as well. That's the thing that we're keen to see. 13 minutes 58 on the clock. So Kieran really leaving it to last knockings. Gabe Norse is going to be the leader. There's no doubt about that after the stops are complete, and he is on his way to the championship. Probably time to work out. I think Ollie Gibson is doing enough in 6th position at the moment to keep the team's cup with him and his brother, but I might need to do some maths just to tot up on that, I think.
Well, I hope Jack's going to bring back a good souvenir from his holiday for his brother Ollie, for holding down the fort whilst he's away.
Yeah, he should do, shouldn't he? And if he doesn't, then he'll owe him a drink in the hop cavern.
I think they're getting them free at this point, especially with winning a team standing. Surely, I'm sure Lee will really appreciate that. As Ollie's just had a little bit of a slide out of there. Don't be doing that, Ollie. Not now. Wait until the end, and then you can do as many donuts as you want.
He's done a load of hard work, hasn't he? So Kieran Haynes still out front. We're still waiting for his stop. Gabe Norse in P2. Here's Sam Gumbley. We haven't seen Sam for a while. Still running in the top 10. He's ahead of Lee Piercy. We haven't seen anything of Lee actually in this one, but great to have Lee Piercy here, and it'll be good to see how Lee does in the touring cars and the ongoing championships. Well, it's very good in Formula 4 as well, Lee Piercy. So hopefully see him in the autumn. I suspect that once the touring car one is done, we'll be into Formula Ford, but I think the dates and everything have got to be agreed before we go ahead with that. And I haven't heard from the Formula Ford boys for a while. They were out racing at Donington at the weekend, and again it was streamed, but again I didn't get the chance to watch it, which was a shame. As we catch up with Chris Blakey, P2, lights ablaze from Chris as he currently having his strongest run of the campaign, and he's been consistent over the course of the season for sure, as Chris, and you know, he's been there or thereabouts, picked up some decent points. 8th in the standings coming into the final round, and a little bit of a way, you know, like everybody else, can't do anything about Gabe Norse in this one. Gabe now is back overall lead, and we're going to have to wait and see where Kieran Haynes comes out.
He's just come back out in P4, so he's behind Andy Carroll. He's got probably a lot to do to try to close that gap. We've got just under 10 seconds gap, so you see what dint he can make into that. But yeah, quite a seems like quite a long pit stop there. So we don't know if he's just been making sure he's definitely got enough fuel, and it was just how everything kind of played out. So we'll see what he can do with that time. Again, mistakes can still happen. Andy can still have a moment. He's obviously 3.5 seconds off Chris Blakey, so he's probably not going to catch up with Chris. So Chris has done really well, considering he wasn't really too much in our focus to begin it. Just kind of done his race, kept out of trouble, and managed to pick up the positions, hit when he needed to, and come out in P2. So he'll be probably really chuffed with that. So just very, very sneakily done there, Chris.
Yeah, really good job. Certainly puts him in the frame for driver of the round if he can maintain second place. Got Andy Carroll trying to hunt him down at the minute. The other ones that we could single out, obviously Kieran Haynes did a really good recovery from the early problems. Rich Hayden's been really consistent here as well, so it's come out after the stops in 5th place. Ollie Gibson's fought back. Obviously Gabe Norse has been sensational once again, but if we were looking outside of Gabe for driver of the round, you've got to say it's going to be between Chris Blakey, possibly Kieran Haynes, possibly Rich Hayden. All done very well indeed. But anyway, we'll see. We've only got 11 runners at the moment, so a couple of people have dropped away off the server. Andy Carroll is going to see if he can close in. The gap is still just over 3 seconds. It was 3.2, I think, the last time I checked. So he's getting the gap down. We might have it's not 9 minutes to go. I mean, best part of a good sprint race, isn't it? 9 minutes, so plenty of time for him to close up on Chris Blakey and maybe nab second position.
But then saying that, these 60 minutes have flown by. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's gone very quickly. Obviously, it always gets to there's a bit of a lull in the middle and stuff, and we've got that much of gaps now between drivers. It's just a case of just making sure they keep it nice and clean. Again, like I said at the beginning, don't lose that focus. It's a long track anyway, and then the added sort of time of it being 60 minutes, make sure you don't lose focus, and it's still warm outside as well, so you've got all of that to contend with as well. You might not have the real life sort of things to contend with, but there's plenty more that gets thrown your way. And again, internet connections and stuff like that, we get the lags and bits like that where you see drivers all of a sudden spin off, and I think a few of them have done it in this championship, and obviously plenty probably before as well, where you see them all of a sudden spin off and you're like, well, what happened there? And it's again internet connections, so it's good there. Most people seem to be keeping their internet connections. I don't know if that's why we've lost a couple of runners, or they've just decided actually for 40 minutes or so that was enough. I'm knackered, I'm going for a drink, I'm going to just chill out for a bit, watch the rest of it unfold. But no, it's been a good race, and apart from the kind of the initial sort of chaos, it's been nice and clean, and that was a good thing to see from last week as well. There was a few penalties, but in all, a lot. There was, especially our kind of top drivers, there was no sort of penalties given, so it was nice clean racing, which is how we like to end things.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's coming down to the end. Just to update you on the points for Team Cup, the gap was 150 points between DK Power and Swift Cooper. At the moment, the Swift Cooper team are scoring, by my maths, 171 points. So that puts them 21 points up on Ollie Gibson. But what is Ollie scoring, I hear you ask? And the answer is, at the moment, he is in 6th position, so would bag 78 points. So Ollie Gibson is keeping that championship lead at the moment. So all unofficial by my maths, so, you know, take it with a pinch of salt, but that's I think, where we are.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen so far, obviously Ollie did have that off, but that was obviously on his own, sort of, yeah, too eager on the throttle over a curb. So I don't think, again, luckily we don't have to make the decisions. I don't think there'll be too many penalties given out for this one, apart from maybe at the beginning, or if that goes down as a racing incident and a bit of a warning to the drivers. Because again, it was reiterated by Rich Hayden to say, again, you've got a long way to go. Don't go mad in the first sort of corner and first lap. Like, just settle into it. So, and it was good to see everybody did recover from that and did get on their way in the end. So at least they've managed to get a good run in out this evening for this 1 hour proper endurance race. But actually, Andy has closed this gap down. And he's got 6 minutes, just over 6 minutes, to make something of it. He's at under 2 seconds now. 2 seconds on the head, kind of fluctuating between that. So he's and again, we've said it before, you can see the car ahead of you. It's quite enticing then. It's very motivating to think, I can see them, I can catch them.
Yeah, do you know what? We've seen many gaps, haven't we, towards the end of the races, and it is towards the end of the races that we wonder whether Andy can burn them. There you go, topical one. No response.
You said you weren't going political again.
Attacks is the best form of defence, so they say in racing. Let's see whether it is going to be Chris Blakey that will take 2nd position. 1.5, he's halved the gap. It was 3 seconds. And Andy Carroll really having a good go here at trying to close in. So Andy would dearly love to get another second. He's already on the podium, but he'd love to get another P2 to wrap things up. So would Kieran Haynes back in 4th position. Rich Hayden in 5th. And 5 minutes to go, which is probably a lap and a bit, isn't it, around the Le Mans circuit, with Gabe Norse on his way to a 2nd consecutive VRRC crown and another win. It's going to be 4th win on the bounce for Gabe Norse, who is well clear, but we're rightly staying with this, I won't say battle yet, but it is, I guess, in a way, a battle between Blakey and Carroll. Andy Carroll trying to close the gap on Chris Blakey in P2, and Chris has done a super job here in the Aston. I say very definitely one to consider for our driver of the race.
Yeah, it's all sort of mind games at this point, just making sure your kind of rival knows you're there, and keep kind of popping out. And yeah, maybe I'm surprised I haven't seen too much of flashing headlights from Andy Carroll to be even more intimidating. But if it stays how it is as well, we've got one of each car in our top 3, which is lovely to see, and a good way to end the championship. They definitely seem to have come into their own for the longer race as well. So, and again, it gives drivers plenty of time to fully know actually what works around the track. Again, they'll have their practice, but it's not quite the same as obviously actually racing against other drivers, because you're not always going to take your racing line around the track. Obviously, that's where your opponent's going to be, so you've got to work around and probably go a longer way around a corner, and that all kind of affects how everything works. So yeah, good to see. Like I say, each car will be represented hopefully in this final podium, as long as nothing drastic happens. But yeah, Andy's slowly closing in, and hoping he can maybe pick up the 2nd place for this final race.
Yeah, I think it's the last lap now, isn't it? Because when they went across the line, if these two had been the leaders, we would have had another lap after this. But Gabe Norse is 18 seconds clear, so I reckon the clock will be down by the time Gabe gets back to us. And here he is, the man who's done everything correct again this evening, from working his way through from the back of the reverse section of the field, getting up onto the podium quickly, getting up onto the lead quickly, exercising his pit stop very quickly, came out back in the lead of the stoppers, and then has just continued to notch away. Been very quick all campaign, and what a very welcome addition he has been to the VRRC, I have to say, joining the likes of the regulars Chris Blakey and Andy Carroll running in P2 and P3. Chris Blakey still doing a super job here at the moment in second place. We've still got 2 minutes on the clock. Chris Blakey is under pressure. Make no mistake about that. And Andy Carroll, again, the late stage of the race, seeming to bring the McLaren right to the fore. And the Team Carbug machine. Again, Team Carbug have done well in the championship. We've not seen Scott Bugner for a long while, which is a pity. But he's banged some points in as well, of course, into the team pot. But Chris Blakey's still there. It's going to be nip and tuck here, Becky, for sure, I think.
Yeah, I bet Andy's just hoping this fuel burns off a lot quicker than it's doing at the moment. And yeah, he finally gets that kind of the full performance from the McLaren, but he's under a second now, so he's all of a sudden found some pace. So maybe again he was just sitting back, lulling Chris into a false sense of security, and now he's going to pounce with the last sort of minute and a half to go, just over. So yeah, he's putting on the pressure now and realizing, okay, right, I've got to make my move now, and make sure Chris can't retaliate off the back of it and reclaim the position. He'll be hoping that Chris might be suffering with his tyres maybe a little bit more than Andy will be. So we'll see how that turns out for them too, with Gabe sitting nice and pretty out in front with a good sort of just a little 18-second lead there. So yeah, he's just been kind of getting on with it, and I suppose it's I wonder if he's kind of realizes that there's anybody else on the server, because with it being such a big track, you're probably not coming across people that often, and just kind of sat in your own kind of bubble at the moment. But I suppose that's nice. You can literally just set kind of quali lap after quali lap, which is, I know, what they always do when especially when they're out leading and they've got that clean air and they don't have to worry about actually defending or attacking. They can just set the best laps they can.
Yeah, set your own agenda, can't you, really? And that's exactly what he's done. He's done it superbly. He's had some bad luck, as have many of the other drivers over the course of the campaign, but he's rode those through, been extremely resilient, which I think is absolutely key. We do get another lap. So that's great news for... I got the timing totally wrong, didn't I, there? So Norse it is that goes on to what will be the last lap now, with Blakey and Carroll with another lap to do, and it is very much nip and tuck between the pair of them. And Andy Carroll on the last lap will try and get up into P2. But yeah, stunning stuff from Chris Blakey this evening. Really good. Great to see him running. Whether he gets P2 remains to be seen, but really good to see him running that high up for as long as he has done. And in the Aston, we know that McLaren has been able to deliver over the last few rounds, but we haven't seen as much from the likes of the Aston. So Chris Blakey really doing a super job here, and keeping the orange and blue at bay for the moment.
Yeah, and without hopefully jinxing Chris too much, I'm scared to say it now, he did have a little off as well, so we lost a bit of time right at the beginning of the race. So again, to recover from that, put in his laps and managed to make it up to P2 at the moment. And I say at the moment because Andy is looming large, and thinking, great, we've got another lap. And Chris was probably thinking, oh, Gabe, you should have slowed down. But he probably would have been very close then to crossing the line with them coming over, as Andy just pops it out to the right, hoping to take the inside line for this corner. And does it nicely, doesn't outbrake himself. Chris is still behind though, so Chris will just be thinking, right, I've just got to stay on the back of him and make my move literally right at the last minute now, because this is the final lap. There's not the time to be able to go for another one. So he'll be thinking, he'll do it now and think, right, okay, I'll get it done now and hopefully gain a bit of a gap and be able to defend for the rest of the lap. But like I say, it's a long lap to then have to defend for, and with the pace of that McLaren as well, it does look very quick at the moment.
Yeah, it does. As they make their way through the second of the chicanes along the North Son Straight, already the race leader is coming down to the Virage de Losail, heading down towards Danage. And this battle for second position continues. It really has been a good one, but here comes the challenger again. Andy Carroll gets his nose in front, but he's got the outside runners to come into the corner. He completes the move. Super stuff then by Carroll as they go into Virage de Losail, and they will still have some straights to deal with as Gabe Norse makes his way through Danage down towards Porsche corner, which is the next one that he's got to do. Actually, Virage Dupont is the next one that Gabe Norse is going to have to do. And here he is, 19 seconds clear. So could probably get out and taste the champagne already. But yeah, Gabe, super stuff from him again, and a thrilling fight for second position in the closing stages. Kieran Haynes, honourable mention for fourth place. Probably the youngest driver, one of the youngest men in the field, and coming through for fourth place. The future is good, isn't it, with the youngsters coming in as well. Gabe Norse, of course, he's not an old one by any stretch of the imagination either. So Gabe is our race leader, and it's been a deserved race, Becky, and a deserved championship title too.
Yeah, he's been dominant in pretty much every single round. So obviously he's had 2 rounds where he scored a hat-trick. So yeah, very, very good performance once again from Gabe. It's always a pleasure to watch him race as well, even if he's not necessarily battling anybody, just how cool and calm he seems. And even as you will hear in the interviews as well, he is a very cool and calm guy. So he's not too sort of, yeah, very nonchalant is Gabe. So yeah, congratulations to Gabe, our winner, and we'll probably quite easily say probably our provisional champion at the moment.
Yeah, very definitely. Well done, Gabe. Congratulations. And to Andy Carroll. Super drive again from Andy Carroll to bring the McLaren through the final turns. Actually not that far behind at the end, and a good P2 on the last lap for Andy Carroll. And third place goes to Chris Blakey. Excellent stuff from Chris. Super drive for sure. As Becky said earlier on, all 3 marks on the podium, which is great to see. Fourth position is going to go to Kieran Haynes, who gives us a little jig as well as he comes across the line. Well done, Kieran. Superb stuff from Kieran Haynes, who, with that, trying to work out whether it was enough for him to hang on to third place in the championship. Again, we're going to have to do some sums, and we'll come back to you on that one because we've got other finishers coming through. Rich Hayden in 5th, Oliver Gibson 6th. Here's Christian Gillian, who's had a good campaign as well. Christian's going to finish up in 7th position. Comes through the final couple of corners. Ollie Atkins will be following him as well. Well done to Christian. Thanks everyone for taking part in this series as well, and all the ones that we've called over the last few years. Robert Shepherd made it through as well in white in the distance. This is Ollie Atkins, so we saw Robert Shepherd going through in white just before. Well done, Robert, for a good finish. He's in 11th place. Lee Pearcey ahead of him in 10th. And this is Sam Gubley oh, he's not in 10th, is he, Lee Pearcey? He's on the timing screen, but not on the tower. 10th position going to Sam Gumbly, who comes out of the final corner. Ahead of Lee Pearcey, who's in 11th in blue. Rich Hayden's teammate. So good further points for VRRC. I think we've name-checked everybody pretty much across the line. Yep, Lee Pearcey's done it. Robert Shepherd did it before, and we got a brief look at Robert Shepherd. Well done to everybody. We all get a breather now because we're going to have an ad break, and we'll talk to our new champion, our driver of the round, and our top 3 in just a couple of minutes.
I've had a lot of challenges in my life, and Helen was always there, supporting me through everything. Today, we're facing a new challenge. Helen has been diagnosed with a terrible disease. Dementia is nothing less than a worldwide epidemic. Formula One moves fast. By contrast, medical research can be painfully slow. We want to bring some of our Formula One technology into the laboratories. Our charity, Race Against Dementia, will help to accelerate the pace of dementia research. Let's beat dementia together.
Always quite poignant to see Sir Jackie Stewart's work with the Dementia Challenge. Dementia is something that I don't know, I think we come across it every day now, which is good for awareness, but bad that people live with it and struggle with it. And thoughts to anyone who is going through that at the moment, from personal experience as well. Thoughts with you, and if you ever need any support or someone to talk to, give us a shout. Let's go on to the positivity though of our final event, and we're going to start with the driver finishing in 3rd place, and also our driver of the round for our final event, and that is Chris Blakey. Chris, well done, super drive. you probably could have done with it being a lap shorter, because it looked like you were going to get a P2. Mr. Carroll had other things on his mind, but really well done, and bookending podiums in this series.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much to the driver of the round. Yeah, that was a hell of a race. Bit of a scary start, but made it through and just kind of got my head down. I haven't really got on with the car since I had an update. I don't know why. It just seems a bit.
Okay.
It just feels different. I can't really put words to it, but everybody seems just feels slightly different. But it is what it is. We made it work, and we've got to get third place. But I knew Andy was coming. Andy's put some stellar laps in like all season. He's always been there. I can see him. He got such a good drive out the chicanes. It was epic. And I knew he was going to time it exactly to the straight. He was waiting. He's too clever for like that. I know he could hear me, but he's too clever for that. So they've timed it for the straight. And yeah, fair play, nice and clean. How we like it. Good end.
I'm really good for you as well to get the Aston onto the podium. As Becky pointed out in the race, it's nice to have all three cars finally on the podium for this championship. And you've beaten some decent names out there. I mean, this has been a really competitive series. You've got Ollie Atkins behind you, Ollie Gibson, Kieran Haynes. It's not been an easy championship, and the quality. I was looking back at some of the earlier results, like going back 2 or 3 years at some of the mini championships we've had, and they were good, but it's just got sharper and sharper, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely. It has been a very close season all season, and I've had some quite unfortunate results. I'll be admit, but the cars have all been so closely paced on laps that the times have just been ridiculously close. And it's been great because they've all had their strengths, they've all had their weaknesses, and it's good bit of variety. Some suits other drivers, some cars don't. It's just brilliant championship. Really enjoyed it. So Rich has done us proud.
He has. I haven't had a chance to talk to you, I don't think, since the start of the new season. Maybe I have.
No, I don't think I have.
How's the real world going?
Not as good as last year. I've had a third place and a couple of fifths and sixths, I think. But I've had barely any running in the car. The car was ready. It turned laps at Cadwell 3 days before my first event at Silverstone. So it was quite fresh. It's quite close. Car is great. I think it just needs some setup time. Just needs, again, car's had an update. Feels slightly different. So it's a different shell, different quirks, few things to sort out. Brakes need a little bit of adjustment, that sort of stuff. So it's just little things, just getting back into it. It's last car took me 3 years of a lot of track time to kind of get to where it was, championship winning. So never expected to be back, but I'm back. I'm racing, and honestly, it was just so nice to be back racing with the guys. It really was. Good weekends, good times, and we're at Alton Park this weekend for BMW Live. So we've got 2 races there.
Oh, brilliant! Okay, well, good luck. I do sort of dip it. Is that with 750 again?
Yeah, 750 again.
I've been dipping into some of the 750 results, and I know Josh Barrett quite well, so he's been doing some bits and bobs, and he's a great commentator for you guys. And I do get to look in. I've got so many people now, so many formulas in 750, and I was talking about going on to TSL at the weekend. You can spend all Sunday night going through TSL. It's crazy.
Yeah. One day we will bump into each other at a track, just one day.
Yeah, look, I really look forward to that, Chris. I really do. Hopefully before the end of the year, which will be good. But well done, mate. Super stuff. Thanks for all your effort in the championship, and for a great drive today. Driver of the round, third place, Chris Blakey. Well done.
No worries. Thank you, guys, and thank you much for your commentating throughout the season.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks, Chris, very much for that.
Cheers all.
Thanks, mate. Lovely to catch up with Chris Blakey again. And similarly with Andy Carroll. Andy, we've sort of made a regular thing of these over the last couple of rounds. But very well timed, and you were coming for him, and we were watching the gap coming down, and you got him. So well done on P2.
Yeah, it was a bit tighter than I was hoping for, obviously.
What happened on the first lap?
Well, there was a bit of coming together right in front of me on the start line, and I thought someone was going to sort of come right across the front of me, so I sort of slammed on the brakes, and that kind of gave the first little pack a chance to just pull a small gap, and then of course you're first laps, you're trying to not to have any incidents and stuff. So the kind of I think Gabe, as always, Gabe came past me as he always does to most people on the first lap. So then it was kind of just it's difficult because it was really tough to, even in the slipstream, it was tough to gain on the other cars. I don't know why. I had the minimal wing, but yeah, it must be the top end on those BMW and Astons was a bit stronger, because I was even sort of following them. I just wasn't seeming to gain on them, and then I sort of decided before the race to try and go as long as possible on the first stint, and I think I was about 9 or 10 seconds behind Chris when he pitted, so I just kind of tried to bang in as many good laps as I could. And I think when I came out of my pits, it was only about 3 seconds. So, and then it was just a question of kind of just trying to not make any mistakes, slowly ease up to him, and I wasn't sure if I'd had enough time, but once I got in his slipstream down the straights on that last lap, it was managed to get past, and of course he came back past me in the next straight. But managed to make it stick at the end of the straight, and then just pleased at that point to have made it back up to second, and was kind of watching where Kieran was, because he was obviously my rival for the championship. So it was nice that Chris was kind of in between us, because I think that gave me a bit of a buffer. So.
Yeah, I was trying to work out. I think you might have snuck third in the championship. I haven't worked out when. Because Jack was 60 points clear, but he obviously might claw a few back in, because he's actually no, he drops the last two.
No, he drops the last two.
I think it's third. So maybe just pipped Kieran. I don't know on the point. I haven't worked out. We were keeping an eye on the team one as well. Kieran was involved in the team one as well, but it's a nightmare, particularly with triple points. I only remembered this morning that it was triple points, so I had to multiply everything up. And then did it twice because I did it wrong the first time. So my maths is not good. But no, it's been good, Andy, and I don't think we're going to get to catch up for a while now, which is a little bit of a pity. But I just want to thank you and all the drivers that have been great company over the couple of years or so that we've been doing it. So, and hopefully we'll catch up in the real world.
Hopefully I'll get along to one of the meetings where you are, but otherwise, hopefully we'll. Or
do one of the scholarships. You've already got to pass on the media bit, so you're okay there.
I'm a bit old for scholarships, I think.
No, you're never too old.
Those are for the young ones.
Well, they're doing. I was saying we've got two. We've got the ADS modular one for which I think is for up to 29, and then the Honda Championship, which runs with Time Attack. I think that's for any age. So.
You've got to try and explain to my wife why I'm getting in a race.
It's a day out. It's just a fun day out. There's no guarantee you'd win. But as I say, you've already passed. You passed the media bit, so we're all right there. So
it's just like going go-karting, Andy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Treat it like that.
Okay, fair enough. Both Richards said.
Yeah. It will be fun, they said. Yeah. But anyway, Andy, well done, mate. Congratulations on another good drive. And as I say, thanks again for your company. And we'll see you at some point later in the year, I'm sure.
Sure. Cheers.
That brings us on to our race winner. What can we say? 4 wins on the bounce, 2 championships on the bounce now. Congratulations, Gabriel Norse. Well done. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you, Rich?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. But again, superb stuff. You've been such a great addition to VRRC over the last couple of championships, and it just adds to the quality that's there. And quality is the main word for that drive as well. Getting into the podium on the early stages, getting into the lead relatively early as well, and then just dominating. I mean, that was just your race.
Yeah, it was quite good. I managed to just claw my way up at the start and get into the lead, and then I think there were a couple of incidents behind me, which gave me a bit of breathing room to the pack behind. But yeah, I was just able to kind of hold on to the lead, and then after all of the pit stops came and went, it was quite a clear lead for me.
Yeah, really good stuff. And championship's gone well, hasn't it? I mean, I know Jack's not here, and you'd love to have won it on track, but you know, it's the same rules for everyone, isn't it? You know, you've got to drop 2 rounds. So you know, Jack's dropped them. I'm sure you'll be the first to admit that you've had some good rounds. You both had bad luck at times. You've both been on the end of contact. You both, I think, spoken to Clark at different times. Really good to have seen you guys. I'd like to have seen you gone a little bit more head to head on track together, but you know, that wasn't to be, I don't think, on this championship. But I said I'd love you and him to pair up and be in Fun Cup or something like that. I don't know whether that will ever be a thing, but that would be a logical progression from what we're seeing here, I think.
Yeah, it'd be definitely fun to race him or with him in real life, and yeah, it was a bit of a shame that he wasn't here for the final 2 rounds, because it would have definitely made it a bit more, a bit closer for the championship.
But how do you feel? Two VRRC titles under your belt, and you're going to come back and do another one?
Yeah, I'll have to see, to be honest. I'm quite busy over summer, so yeah, I'll just have to see how it goes.
Well, please keep in touch, and if you can't do maybe the next one, obviously we're not broadcasting the next one, but you know, we've got various official ones coming up, so you know, it'd be lovely to see you for Formula Ford if that floats your boat at all. And some really good people that you can get involved with championship wise on that as well when we get around to announcing that. But okay, congratulations, mate, superb stuff, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Yep, thank you very much, Rich.
Gabriel Norse, double VRRC champion, race winner, 4 wins on the bounce to seal off the campaign. Absolutely stunning stuff. Here's the provisional points. Andy Carroll did make it up into P2. Well done, Andy. With Kieran 3rd, Ollie Gibson 4th, Jack Smith. Well, that was a killer, wasn't it? He's Ollie down to 5th position, but I think Ollie and Jack just doing enough to hold on to the team championship. On Ollie Atkins in 6th, Chris Blakey making it up into 7th, with another great podium there. Christian Gillian 8th, top 10 rounded off by Andy Dorman and Lee Piercy, with Sam Gumpney in 11th. There's all sorts of stuff that we can talk about. Thanks to Rich Hayden for the last few years. Rich, I know we're taking a little bit of not a break, but a reset, really, isn't it? To go back to some non-broadcast races. There's still plenty of fun to be had.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, we're not stopping racing. We've got a Touring Car Championship starting on the 4th of August. Unfortunately, like I said, as you've just mentioned, it's not going to be broadcast. I just need to take a step back. I've done this now solidly for 6.5 years, back-to-back championships. So I think I deserve a bit of a break. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to still run, like I said, we'll still run the championships, run to the same level and standards that we've always run, just without the broadcast, which just gives me a bit more time to myself, which I need. But as you said, we've got a number of official championships. We've got the Formula Ford 1600, we've got the Scottish Legends, we've got the mini challenge that we're going to hopefully have something with those guys in the new year, and also a couple of other ones that are in discussion at the moment. So lots to come. All of those official ones will be broadcast with commentary. But we're just gonna take a step back slightly and give me some time to run the farm.
Yeah, you probably need that. For me, as I say, it's been really good, and it probably only be a couple of months break for me by the time we get back to officialdom. But I want to thank everyone that's worked on this. Steve Allen's done a great job, and you know, I'll keep up with you, Steve, and we'll make contact on. So I'll probably have to go back on socials with the autumn work that's coming back. So I've had a nice break from social media, but we'll go back on that. Becky, thanks for coming on and doing co-coms, and really glad we got you involved with this.
We're going to try and get her in a race car.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. What, a virtual one or a real one? Who's funding the real one?
Well, the virtual to start with, Becky. Let's not go over top.
Oh, well, just chuck me in. It's fine. I was going to say, firstly, where do I lodge a complaint about the no broadcast? But no, I'm joking. It's been an absolute pleasure to be part of the team. Thank you so much for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. You've been fantastic. Thank you.
And I want to give a shout out.
Well deserved.
Yeah, thanks, Becky, and hopefully we get to do some real world work with you as well. And I've got to obviously give a shout out to Jack, who I didn't get to work with, but I did listen to Jack in the first round, and Reeve Taylor. So Reeve, I'll try and hook up with you on socials as well, and we'll keep in touch as well. But yeah, I'm going to keep in touch with everybody for sure. If you do see me at a track, if I can't remember faces, just give me a slap and say, I'm from VRRC, and tell me who you are, and that would be good. But yeah, thanks everybody for you know, some great entertainment that they've put on the last few weeks and years. Rich, have a good break.
Thank
And
you.
I'll be in touch anyway. We're gonna,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We'll meet up.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll see you all in the autumn, if not before. So, anything else to say, or are we probably?
I think we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, there we go. Thanks again, everybody. Be nice.